Okay, I'm going to talk today about qualitative data sets, and we're going to work with creating frequency and frequency distribution tables to analyze qualitative data. And we'll also do a little graphing with that too, a little charting. All right, so let me give you an example data set here. In this particular data set I've just put it in a simple text file. Okay, so and I'm pulling up here with Notepad, which is our text editor. So what's the difference between a text editor and a word processor? Okay, a word processor is used to write documents, and it has some features such as different font sizes, and you can insert or embed pictures, and you have all sorts of formatting type of characteristics. Whereas a text editor, you can't change the font. And we can't change styles and things like that. It's just a simple text-based file. Okay, so text files are handy because we can utilize them. We can usually export data from any, well, from a database, or we can even take a Microsoft Word file and save it as a text file. And it's standard, so it can be imported into any application that's out there. Okay, so this particular text file I'm working with here, and I have my text editor Notepad that I pulled up here, just contains a list of majors from maybe a survey I did of my students. Okay, so I have a long list here, and I just asked everybody, hey, what's your major? And I just wrote it down, and there's no numbers here. It's all text. And what I'd like to do would be to do some measurement here. So for instance, if I want to figure out how many accounting majors I have here, I can go through this chart and count them out one by one, or business or information technology, or whatever the field of study is. Okay, let me show you how text files can be imported now into Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to open up a new Excel document, make this one a little bigger. Okay, and now I'm going to go over to my data tab, and I'm going to do an import. And so over here on this kind of left-hand side of my screen here, I have different ways I can get external data. One is from a Microsoft Access database, another is from a web, which would allow me to import any table found on a web page. That's really a great tool. And then this third one over allows me to get external data from a text file. Okay, so let me click on that, and I'll go find this text file. I have it listed on my desktop here, and I called it Classroom Demo Graphics. And I'll hit next, and there's no delimiting characters here. Delimiting characters are used if we have multiple fields in here. I have just one field, and so I'll go ahead and just hit next, and I'll just say finish, and I'll import my data. It'll ask me where do I want to put it. Well, I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so I put in cell A1, and then I'll rename this sheet. Let me give it a different name. Let's call this students by major. Okay, so I want to do some analysis here. All right, and what I'd like to do would be to go through here and count how many accounting students I have. Let me see all the different choices I have here. Let me see accounting, I got business, I have energy technology, we have information technology, and what else do we have here? General studies. Okay, so these are the different majors that I have, and there's 32 entries I have in this. Let me widen this out a little bit, and I want to just do some accounting here. Okay, so I'm going to put major, and then I'm going to find out what's known as frequency, and frequency is just the number of occurrences. All right, and then we're going to do a frequency distribution. Okay, let me clean this up a little bit here. So I should I should insert a row here. We put major. All right, and let's accentuate that a little bit. I'm going to boldface it, and let me just shade it slightly, okay? Get that done. Let's shade a little more. I don't think we did it. There we go. All right, we'll do the same thing over here. Going to wrap some text. Maybe widen this out a little bit. Okay. And we'll bold this, center it. We should center this too. Center it. And clean up a little more. I'll put a little color in it, and I think that looks better. All right, and perhaps over here we'll go ahead and put some borders around it. All right, so how many accounting students do we have? Well, we're going to use the count function here. I'm going to say if, or we'll say count if, okay, and the range is going to be these cells over here. So I'm going to grab my data, my entire range. I'll put a comma after that. Okay, so that's my classroom demographics. And then lastly, the criteria. So it's got to be equal to that. Okay, so count. If in that range, the major, the data equals accounting. Okay, and so I have 10 accounting majors. And I'm going to pull this all the way down here. And because I used a, do you see I used a range name here? Okay, because I have a range name, it filled those in over there. Okay, so let's just do a quick check here. So I'll just mentally kind of go through this. If I add up the total amount here, I have 17 and 2 is 19 and 10 more is 29. Did I get all my majors in? Did I skip any majors? What do I have here? I have 33. Did I get my whole range in? What do we got going here, folks? Accounting, business. Did we forget anybody? We got general studies. Let's count. Do we have 10 accounting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it appears to be working. Got 2 general studies. Okay. Let's go through this now. Let's figure out a frequency distribution. So we could go through, and frequency distributions, what we're trying to find out is based upon the frequency here, and then dividing that by the sum of all the responses. What percentage, frequency distributions are usually figured in a percentage, what percentage of this particular survey are accounting students. All right, so I'll say this is equal to, and I'll move over here, frequency divided by the sum of our entire data set. Okay, now I'm going to make a couple changes here. Whoops. Try this again. Put a comma here. All right, so it's 34%, but I'm going to want to copy this down to the other cells here using my fill handle. So I'm going to put that as a percentage, because that's how we measure frequency distribution. Okay, or I'll format that as a percentage. And now I come up with my frequency distribution for each of my 5 different categories of majors here. All right. Let's do 2 other things here now. All right. Next thing I want to do is I want to put some graphical representation of this data out here. So I'm going to create 2 new charts. All right. And we'll put one chart here, and I'll put one chart. Well, let's put one chart here, and we'll put the other one right next to it. So I insert, and I'm going to say I want a column chart. Let me just see if I can do this. Let's select my data and grab column. And what I'm going to do here is make that just a little smaller to fit on here. And so here are my frequency of majors. All right. And so I want to change this. First, I don't want this to say frequency. I want to say this by student major. Though I will measure frequency here. Okay. Next thing I'd like to do over here is I'd like to get a second chart going. And in this chart, I want to do a pie chart. And I want to measure my frequency distribution by major. All right, so let's see if we can pull that off here. So I'm going to take a insert pie chart. We'll use this exploded 2D pie. All right, and let's check this out. I'm a little skeptical what I did with my data here. Okay, so it's measuring measuring this entire amount. Let's go back and check my data. Okay, so what I truly want to measure, let's see if I can get this out of the way. Cancel that. All right, I'm going to go back up here. I'll select my chart, and then I'm going to select my data. And actually, a chart or the data I want to select is just this right here. I don't think it'll make a difference in my final results. Okay, so let's put that in there. Okay, and over here, what I want to do is I want to edit this, and what I'm trying to show over here are majors. Whoops, let's try that again. Okay, so let's edit our axis here. Here's where we want to put our majors. Okay, I think we got that correct now. All right, so I think we have now the information we're looking for. Let me click OK here. And I can use some of my chart layouts to make this maybe a little more interesting here. So I say student major here for my chart title. Okay. And so here's my second graph that I was trying to create. We'll just put those side by side. Okay. So what we do here, we took a file that was a text-based file, and we imported into Microsoft Excel. Okay, common and very useful task. All right. Secondly, our data was there was no numbers attached to it. It was all text-based data. Okay, so what we did is we went looking for frequency of responses, and we were able to use the COUNTIF function to do so. And we count it based upon a particular major. Then we were able to figure out a percentage or a frequency distribution, and then we displayed our results graphically. Okay, and maybe I want to say what is my what major is the most prevalent in this particular class, and it's accounting. Okay. Okay, so I'll put some summary. I'll summarize this a little more by putting a little note in here that accounting is the most common major.